Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. We are playing World of Warships Legends, and we are playing Domination on Hot Spot. That's the map name, if you didn't know. Anyway, we are playing in the Yahagi. This is the, and of course, as always, I am probably not pronouncing that correctly, right? This is a Tier 4 premium Japanese cruiser, right? So I'm a big fan of the Japanese cruisers, but this one, man, not so much. You only get 2 turrets in the front, 1 turret in the back, and then you do get some really awesome, really long-range torpedoes. I think these go like 12 kilometers, but just the firing angle on them is just god-awful. Like, you have to be so perfectly broadside to the enemy to fire these torpedoes. So that is the biggest downfall. Just look at that, like so that angle's just terrible. At least with a lot of the other Japanese cruisers, they kind of, you can fire them like kind of behind you a little bit too, so you can kind of be this like runaway ship as people are chasing you and dump torpedoes behind you. This one, you gotta face them broadside with your pants down, you know. We're getting spotted by the airplanes, which is super annoying, but so we send our fighter out. Hopefully he can help out, but ideally I wanted to kind of tuck myself away behind this island, because this is a perfect spot for a cruiser on this map. You can typically duck in here and get a lot of free shots on anything that's getting spotted, you know, kind of on the other side of this zone. But so we're not having the greatest of luck because these airplanes are spotting us, right? But we are having luck in that nobody is shooting us at the moment, so we will take advantage, right? But yeah, I'm trying to make sure I'm not too crazily broadside angled to battleships that are out there. But this Wyoming doesn't appear to be looking at us, so we can take advantage of that. But I do have to keep in mind these guys over on this side that are over by Zone A over there could potentially reach me as well. You know, figuring being a cruiser, if I can hit a battleship over there, that battleship could probably hit me. You know, just all depends. But for the most part, the Japanese cruisers they're kind of, you know, they're what do I want to say? Like they're good at setting fires, right? So I typically rig out the commander and the ship for like range and accuracy on the turrets, as well as anything that can help, like, you know, increase chances of fires being started on ships and stuff like that, or increase damage for HE shells, like that kind of thing. So for the most part, and I've kind of spoken to this in some of my other videos, but typically you want to use your commander perks to increase the already good aspects of your ship, sort of take advantage, as opposed to trying to make up for something that might not be so great on your ship. Especially since a lot of those perks and things come at percentages, right? So if your torpedo range isn't that great, you know, say it's like 4 kilometers and you can get, you know, 10% more range, well, that's really that gives you 4.4, you know, so versus if you've got 10-kilometer torpedoes, you know, another 10%, you know, that gets you up to 11-ish, you know, whatever. Math is hard sometimes. But that's kind of my thinking and my strategy behind setting up ships and commanders and how to outfit things. So, trying to see if we can't get some torpedoes on this Phoenix. It looked like he wasn't going to be turning into our zone there, so that's why I didn't fire out front where the suggestion line was suggesting me to. But I still kind of think that's, you know, I'm just going to get lucky. For the most part, when I've got torpedoes, especially on cruisers, a lot of times with these longer range ones, I'm just firing them when I got them. It's, you know, yeah. So we will see if we can get some hits here. This is kind of nice. We're getting a little bit lucky with an allied smoke screen in here. So taking advantage of that, taking advantage that there's no planes. The nice thing with this cruiser is you do get this engine boost, and that made us able to move pretty quick. Switch to AP for a second there, since I saw that the Rattlehead kind of broadside to us. But then it looked like he was going to start heading away, so then I switched back, and of course now he's broadside again. So we will just keep our HE shells, but that is the nice thing with cruisers. You can kind of mix and match more than pretty much any of the other ships. You know, a lot of times if you if you don't really know what piercing armor does, like how good your guns are against certain ships, like if you're in a destroyer, typically you're just gonna want to shoot HE shells, right? That's your best bet. And then battleships the other way around, you're gonna want to shoot AP shells, for the most part, unless you've kind of got something else going on with your ship. And then cruisers, I kind of like to switch back and forth, but although with the Japanese ones I'm firing HE shells more often, just because that's their upside. That's these ships' upside, is they do better with HE. So we switched to AP here since these two cruisers are broadside to us. We've got planes in the air to try and defend, and we're getting lucky there because it's really, like normally I feel like I don't get my fighters don't normally shoot planes down, right? But it's happening for us this time. Things are going our way, right? So switching back to HE to try and get fires on the battleship. I am taking bullets from somewhere, so I need to kind of adjust and figure out what to do there. I kind of felt screwed in this position. Like, to me, I was like, oh man, there's just too much that can hit me at once here. But so much of their team is going up and away, and I'm like, well, that's just stupid. Like, you're taking yourself out of the fight, like, especially that many ships. If it's one guy who's trying to kind of kite and run away from, an enemy, somebody on my team, that makes sense. But this whole team is just, they're outside the battle. So here's where I made the decision, like, somebody needs to go capture these other zones, because if the battle ends up out in that corner up there, then they're going to have 2 zones to R1 and they're going to win on points, right? Like, they're already winning on points. So keeping an eye on these stupid torpedoes that are slowing me down, because I don't want to cut in front of them, right? So waiting for those to pass so that I can go in and turn. But that worked out for us too, because we were able to send some torpedoes after their aircraft carrier, who surprisingly just decided to come out into the middle of the map. Maybe he was not expecting me to think, hey, we should try and maintain these zones. So maybe he was trying to reduce his, sort of time to target. It is one thing a lot of aircraft carrier players, especially new ones, don't really think to do, is move your carrier where it's going to be most useful, and so that where you don't, it doesn't take your planes forever to get to somebody, right? Because then you're not going to do a lot of damage, like throughout the game. So that's probably what he's thinking. He saw the fight starting or taking place way off to the other side, so he probably started moving his carrier and wasn't expecting me to be here. So he points towards us, which was the smart thing to do. That helped him to dodge these torpedoes. So now we've fired our torpedoes 3 or 4 times now and hit absolutely nothing with them. But being broadside to the carrier is not so bad, right? He doesn't have the best guns. So, yep, keeping an eye on the planes. So this is why I'm making a hard left here to try and avoid torpedoes. And it doesn't look like it's not going to work. It's not going to work out for us. Luckily, for the most part, aircraft carrier, airplane torpedoes aren't anywhere near as bad as torpedoes from like a destroyer, so get away with a little bit there. But so I'm not aggressively going towards their carrier because I want to get to these zones. So a lot of times with capturing zones, people say, oh, you got to capture the zones, or somebody says, oh no, don't bother capturing the zone. To me, it's circumstantial, right? Like, that's my play style. A lot of times just paying attention to where the enemy is, and trying to get enemy ships off the table, get them off the board, is more important, and then let the zone captures come kind of organically. Because as you move around the map, as you eliminate some people on their team, so we're going to fire just to the left of this island in hopes that Ichikuchi keeps moving, but then we also fire one to the right side in case he runs into the island, or stops or turns, that kind of thing. So that was my thought process there. But yeah, anyway, so like I went, okay, you know what, we need to capture zones if we want to win this game, because they've got to. The ship count was pretty even throughout that that section while we were fighting over there off to the right side of the map. So trying to get some fires on the battleship before he potentially gets to where our torpedoes are going. But yeah, it looks like our carrier got its butt kicked by this Minakaze here. Well, probably as well as the battleship, but But we are getting very lucky that he is being spotted by the... Oh man, we got the Ichiguchi. Sorry, that's one other one I can't pronounce. My apologies. So that's what I see, and so that's what I say. And yeah. But yeah, so we were gonna try and get this Minakaze, but like he's gonna go unspotted. And he pops back up, and I'm kind of confused why he does. Like, maybe he's trying to shoot down the airplanes that are over there, those fighters that were left by the carrier. But regardless, we're going to take advantage of it. Like, we might as well, right? Like, why not shoot this guy? You know, I've said this before in some of my other videos. This game is very heavily, at least in my opinion, like rock, paper, scissors based, right? So cruisers are good at taking out destroyers. Destroyers are good at taking out battleships. Battleships are good at taking out cruisers, right? So this is where I felt at this moment I was most valuable, trying to get this guy off the board so he can't come back and just surprise me or surprise somebody else on our team, or come back and get this zone that I just spent all this time capturing, right? So I am taking full advantage, just trying to get rid of him, and we are having the best of luck. Like the Japanese guns, like they're usually pretty accurate, but like I said, on this ship, you only get these 2 turrets with 2 bullets on each, you know, in the front. So if I'm heading towards them, those are the only ones I can shoot. But he does have some pretty decent torpedo range too, so I'm sure he's got something coming my way. So we're keeping our sonar going just in case of that. This is a long ship. It's got some length to it, so it can be a little bit more difficult to dodge torpedoes. But the engine boost helps out. It's kind of rare for cruisers to have the engine boost, so. But yeah, this fight with this guy just felt like it took forever. Just like, I need to be elsewhere. Like, I can't, like, the time consumption trying to get rid of this guy. And then he disappears again. And I don't know if, like, he shoots or what his deal is, but he gets spotted by the plane again. And gives us another chance yet again. Like, he should have just been long gone right after killing right after that carrier went down. And I felt like he hung out in this area. That was his downfall, right? Like, just why, and then why head towards me? Like, like, you know, I've got bigger guns than you. So we finally get the killing blow there. And now, at first I was like, all right, well, great. Now I'm just going to drive around the rest of the game. But we do manage to get back up into the battle here in a little bit. But yeah, so taking those zones, I was in a division, and I did tell my buddy, hey, like, go get that other zone too. So that was huge for us. We went from being down, you know, 2 zones to 1 to now we've got all 3. And like I said, like that's what happened with that group in the beginning of the game. So many of the red guys went up to that top right area of the map, and that took them out of the game. And now there's just, you know, there's only a couple minutes left, and you don't have a chance to capture zones. Like, even if they get kills here at this point, our points are ticking up plenty fast to have this win in the bag. So Rattlehead, it'd be nice to hit him with some AP shells. Our destroyer is so weak. I wish I was closer just to witness the battle, but he manages to take him out. So I was impressed with that, and right as I was about to get in range too. And then here's, you know, this other battleship, he's so far out. He's so far out. And like, I preach this to just survive the game, right? Like, I mean, not necessarily the whole game, but it's all circumstantial, right? But if you die early on, that's not good for your team. So yeah. So survivability, I always kind of preach that in this game in World of Warships. You know, if you're dead, you can't get more money when you die. You can't get more hits. You can't get more XP. So even if it's a losing game, you know, sometimes it's worth, you know, as long as you've got somebody you can shoot at, it's worth staying alive, right? But if I was this battleship, and that's probably what he's doing, I would YOLO push because, you know, why not? There's only less than a minute left in the game. These torpedoes don't even have enough time. You can see the time on the torpedoes at the end of the reticle there. They're going to take like 70 seconds to get to them, and there's only, you know, there's less than a minute left in the game. So I fired them anyway, but we'll open up our guns now that those are in range. See if we can maybe get a couple more hit points of damage for this game. start a fire, any of those fun things, right? But yep, this one's in the bag. If we don't win on the timer going out, we're getting close to the 1,000-point threshold too. So, and I attributed it this game. I made the smart move and looked at the points going up, or our points situation anyway. And I kind of made the decision like, hey, we need some zones if we're going to win this game. But the team fought well and managed to take out most of those ships that went up in the top corner. So we didn't 100% rely on having all those zones captured, right? So we'll see where we end up on the leaderboard. That was a pretty good game. This Tier 4 Yahagi, this is the premium Japanese cruiser, so it's a good one. I think you can get this in the store for probably Global XP or something. I'm not sure how I got it. Had it for what feels like forever. But that's the way the cookie crumbled with this one, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We got more World of Warships videos on the way. Until next time.